Hi, boys and girls. Today we're going to do a few things. One of them is that we're going to look at defining and non-defining attributes of shapes. But instead of doing two-dimensional shapes or flat shapes, today we're going to do three-dimensional shapes or something you can hold on to. And we're going to begin to think about building composite shapes using two three-dimensional shapes. Today we're looking at a ball, a can, and a box. Box, a ball, and a can. These are things I found around my house. And what do these objects have in common and what makes them different? I want you to think about that answer. I know it says record your answer or your ideas here, but we're just thinking about it right now. So we learned actually at the very beginning of our time here at home, and even while we were still in school, about attributes of flat shapes, things that can't be held. And today we're going to be working, of course, with shapes you can hold. And let's see, I'm going to go to full screen and I'm going to do this. There we go. Okay, so I have this can of beans. And one of the attributes of it is I can hold it. That makes it three-dimensional, right? Another attribute of it is that it has two flat surfaces, which are circles, right? And then one surface that is curved all the way around. Do you remember what this shape is called? Do you remember this from when you did this in kindergarten? It's called a cylinder. Then let's look at this shape right here. We would call this a ball. We have a basket of these on our kitchen table, and so I took one of them. Again, this is something I can hold. So one of its attributes is that it's three-dimensional. Another one is that it's curved all the way around. And it's called a sphere. Sphere. The next shape, I'm making sure the sphere or ball doesn't fall. Okay. The next shape I have is a box. This is a box of crayons. It has 6 flat sides. Sometimes people just think it has 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But it also has a top, 5, a bottom, 6. It has 6 flat surfaces. And it has a lot of corners, doesn't it? It has a lot of vertices. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It has 8 vertices. And it has 12 edges, and we'll talk more about edges another day, but just know that. Let me switch us to this. So each of these three-dimensional shapes has a formal name, which we just talked about that, didn't we? We talked about the cylinder, and they called this a rectangular prism, and of course, the sphere. Okay. A defining attribute of a shape is the attribute is that always true for the shape. So if it's defining, it has to always be true. Okay. The outside of these shapes, we call that the surface. That's what's on the outside. Okay. And let's look at this. Let's take a look at the rectangular prism that we just talked about when that was a box of crayons, right? Okay. They all have flat sides, 8 corners, or we said vertices because, of course, we always want to sound like mathematicians because we are. They have edges, no holes. All the sides are rectangular. You can get a rectangular prism, and that is true of this as well. This is a rectangle. Sorry, rectangle, rectangle, rectangle. All the sides are rectangles. Okay. The flat side of a rectangular prism is called its face. Okay, so each one of these is its faces. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 faces or 6 flat sides. And the flat sides are called faces. And then they're talking about these corners, which we already said were, one of them is called a vertex, and there's more than one. They're the vertices. We just talked about that. That's showing you that. Okay. A cylinder doesn't have any vertices, right? Here's my can of beans. Because its faces do not meet. It has this face. We could put a smiley on it, couldn't we? Make this smiley face. And this face. 2 faces that never meet, so no vertices, no corners. No corners. And how many vertices does a rectangular prism have? We just talked about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's the 4 on the inside. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So defining attributes, let's remember this. This is important. They are always true for that shape. Non-defining attributes could be any shape. So if I said it's blue, you wouldn't know if I was talking about the rectangular prism or the cylinder, would you? You would have no way of knowing because they're both blue. It's not defining. It's an attribute, but it doesn't let you know what the shape is, right? Okay. Now I'm going to ask you a question that's going to come up tomorrow in our Zoom. So it's very important that you write down this answer and you're prepared for Zoom tomorrow because we're going to do a survey tomorrow. And you're going to have to know the answer. Okay, the question is, which is more useful when identifying three-dimensional shapes? Is it more useful to have a defining attribute? Or is it more useful to have a non-defining attribute when you are trying to identify a three-dimensional shape? That's your question for tomorrow. Hold it in your brain. Thank you guys. Have a great day.